So we're going to keep flowing. I made this part 16 so I could split it up, but I want to keep going. So status conference, they ordered this psychiatric evaluation in October. So we're October 1997. I'm in my senior year of college. I was back to dating Sean. I was back to dating. So I don't know how we had got back together. I remember it didn't scare me. From whatever it was like, okay, I'm back with him. The fact that he didn't answer my calls and kind of rejected me when my face was all stabbed up and jacked up. Yeah. But it says needs more time for psychiatric evaluation. So they moved it to January. You know, that happens, these delays. So then I had my first surgery on my scars. Oh, that's what I forgot to, is that there? When I went to the, sorry, I'm looking at the paperwork, y'all. I got so many different things. I don't know where that went. Okay. I went for surgery. Oh, on my scars in Carlisle. This was my first surgery. I had more to come. I'll share with you. Montel Williams had me on his show less than a year from here, like the upcoming summer, and had a plastic surgeon also do surgery on my back, my lip, and on my leg. Status conference, he was okay. So by the time we got to January 1998, he was only pleading guilty to aggravated assault. So remember, he had that psychiatric evaluation. Remember what they was claiming? Diminished capacity. So he was only pleading guilty to aggravated assault, not pleading guilty to attempted murder, and not pleading guilty to rape. Wait till I tell you what he ended up being charged with. Not pleading guilty to rape. Likely because that was not too long after the Megan's Law thing where you would have to register no matter what it was, like whether you raped somebody that was underage or you raped at all. You had, is it called Megan's Law? I think it is. You have to register. Yeah, whatever it is where you got to register and you in the neighborhood as a sexual offender, that's likely why he didn't want to register for that. So the trial was set for May 3rd. Trial date. A trial date, this is a whole year. Oh, actually exactly a year after it happened, right? So a year after. Hearing for the motion to lower the bail. His ass is still trying to get out. Judge DeLuca was going to lower his bail in March. He trying to get out right before the trial. The judge was going to lower his bail. It has, I made a speech. Everyone was crying. I got to find, everyone was crying. Where did my rest of my paperwork end with this? Anyway, I don't know why I stopped the timeline there, but what I do have is, wow, my victim impact statement. Okay, so, so the victim impact statement. Some point my timeline stopped here. I don't see the rest of it. And maybe because we were just waiting for the date, right? But my victim impact statement, I don't have the exact date of this. I don't see it here. It might be somewhere in this, but this is what I must have read to the court, right? So I'm just going to use this time to read this to you. So it was, and look how I broke it. I was organized. I like this. Be organized, okay? Be organized when it comes to things like this because you're counting on someone else to represent you. A, my feelings about the incident. B, how my life is different. C, what I think the defendant's sentence should be. A, what my feelings. So they probably gave me a format for how to write my victim statement. So I feel very much, this is 20-year-old me. Well, no, by this time I was 21 because my birthday's in the summer. So I feel very much confused about the entire incident. I cannot begin to understand why such a horrifying thing would happen to someone like me. I feel that I am one of the most friendly, helpful, kind, loving, giving, outgoing, and influential people that someone could ever know. What could I do so bad that would make someone want to kill me? Why did this terrible incident happen to me? Why do bad things happen to good people? This is 21-year-old me. My life has been flipped upside down since the tragic incident. I was forced to relocate, which caused a great financial loss for a college student. Mentally, I feel totally screwed up for life. I have went from being an outgoing person to walking around with my head down and only going outside for the necessities. This is due to the scarring on my body. When I do go out in public, people stare, point, and ask questions. What happened to you? I always say that I was in a car accident, but many do not believe me. I use this car accident excuse. I rolled this out even to this day. Oh, my scars, car accident. Because, see, you can see the stabs go all the way through my neck here. All these little jabs when he was doing this, when I was trying to escape on his mother's garden porch, they go up. This is 28 years. So imagine what they look like then. That's when I started wearing really long down to my butt. I was wearing weave before. Got turned onto weave back in the late 90s when I moved there. But I was wearing long weave because I would be in the B places and girls would like, what happened to her back? Ew. Very disrespectful. And the hair became like a blanket for me. Long, straight. Remember we used to put the glue on the tracks and put the tracks on it? That's when I got into that. And sew-ins and things like that. So, I have found myself to become very lazy and not motivated at all to complete anything. I did struggle my senior year. I did struggle. I am constantly asking myself, why me? I sat in this why me, woe is me phase for a while, so much that once I got older, I began to speak as a motivational speaker and created a workshop around stop asking why me, start asking what now. I'm still on section B. How my life is different. I found myself to become very lazy and not motivated at all to complete anything. I'm constantly asking myself why me. When the incident happened, it resulted in me missing the last 6 weeks of my spring semester at Seton Hall. So I missed my last 6 weeks. Yo, that's like a whole half a semester. That's a whole half or more. Because I think, like 6 week semesters. I've been trying to make up the work, but it's very hard when you are not motivated. I often find myself asking if it would have been better if he succeeded in killing me. In addition to the alters in my personality, I have bad dreams frequently. I find myself waking up in the middle of the night looking in rooms, closets, cabinets, drawers, fearing that he is hiding in my house. So you ask how this incident has affected me? Drastically. I remember this, y'all. I remember having dreams, and I had dreams and had things I'll share in the part after this one, and then wrap these parts up, how it affected me decades later. With me still, what he said in the courtroom haunting me, thinking he was always going to come back. So last part, what I think the defendant's sentence should be. I think that the defendant's sentence should be life in prison, if not death. Since he does not have a history of this type of behavior, then he definitely needs help. I feel that he should get a mandatory sentence of 15 years. So that was the mandatory he was going to be able to get in prison, then the rest of his life in therapy. He needs to be punished for what he did. If he gets out too soon, then someone else will suffer. Hopefully my pain, scarring, and suffering will be the prevention of another woman's death. I ask that the judge please think through this before allowing this animal to harm the lives of others ever again. So this is what I read. I'm trying to look for the date, y'all. Wait a minute. Let me pause this. Wait, y'all. So I was going through the paperwork, and I have like the parole stuff for after. But the victims of crime counseling services, like you had to complete a form, right? Because they have money for victims. And I'm looking at what I wrote. And it's talk about how there was an extra, I wish tuition was still $3,000 for tuition on my school. It forced me to break my apartment lease. Yeah, so I lost my security deposit. I also had to move all my belongings. And remember I said I didn't know where my belongings went? Right here, I had to move my belongings into a self-storage space for a month. See, I told you I was only gone for a month. It's like I was back and forth between, I'm strong, I'm going to go back, I'm going to go to school, and being depressed and sad. That Superwoman cape that you put on, it says I kept all the receipts from the move. I had to get a new phone line. Oh, so I must have changed my phone. After he called me again in May, I changed my phone line. The fees together. I talked about the financial losses in this. Frightening dreams. I talked about on this with this victim's crime how I cannot concentrate on making up the schoolwork for my last semester. My self-esteem hit an all-time low, and sometimes I really wish he did cut a bit deeper, because then I'd be dead. So a lot of times I'm thinking back, although I remember me being strong, I don't remember much of this. So this is why I'm going back. I remember strong Roxanne, go back, finish school. You can get back to doing, that's what I remember. That's all I remember. It's taking my power back. But clearly I was struggling with whether or not I really wanted to still be living with this. So, all right, this is the Montel Williams show stuff. So I'm going to talk about this, another one. I'm going to switch up. I'm going to talk about the Montel Williams stuff. I need to organize this before I come on here. Oh, briefly describe your injury, section 3 from this. listed all my stabs. The gash on my outer thigh that I showed you before, 11 inches. Slit my throat, slit my wrist. 7 in the back. 7 of these in the back. 8 of these in the neck. Cut a tendon out on my finger. And then various 10 cuts, extra cuts all over. 11-inch gash down the thigh. This slit here. They said he was, I can find it in my medical records. Like, what's a millimeter? What's the smallest measurement? The amount he was from my carotid artery. Or I would have really been gone. That's why I knew I was supposed to be here. I knew. Let me pause. Y'all not going to believe this. His mom was home. I don't know if she came home after or came home right when or was there the whole time. This I never knew. I was going back trying to find other information. And this was copies of all of the police reports in order from when I filed the first to after. And I never read some of this. This talks about right here where they found me lying on 20th Ave and East 37th Street with my body. It says she had no clothes on and lacerations all over her body. At this time, they called for an ambulance and my sergeant. So this was the police. It says a woman brought over a sheet, which she covered my naked body. At this time, the officer began to try to gather information. I don't remember him talking to me. That's another thing. You was gathering information from me, and I don't remember any of this. But when they said to find him, they say that his mom was home. And she gave them different locations where he could be. I remembered it differently. I remember them telling me that they followed a certain trip. This is crazy. His mom was home?